Mohammed Martinez for KTNG.NetTV, and we're here to bring you the news to you directly.
We are here because of the continued injustices that continue to happen regarding the Compton Sheriff Department. Most recently, Barry Montgomery was brutally beaten by over 20 Compton sheriffs. Barry is a mentally ill young man who was beat viciously. Only little over 105 pounds, 110 pounds, beat by 20 individuals, as you see from the pictures. Eyes beaten, nose broken, jaws, 7 broken ribs, brutally, viciously attacked in the back with a baton or the police baton. These kind of injustices continue to happen. It's not just one instance, it's a continual thing. That's why we call the press conference to bring light to this. We have to stop the sheriff right now for things that they're doing. It's like it's open season on our young men, and it has to stop. We want an immediate investigation. We actually would like for the federal government to investigate them, because the police can't police themselves. That's why this is continuing. This is not a joke, and it's not for something to brag about and put some more notches in their belt. We're not going to continue to allow them to keep doing this. We're going to come out every time and raise this ugly head. The brutality of our young people, murdering them like they're animals in the street, this has to stop. So we want you guys to see just some of the faces that have been brutalized by the Compton Sheriff. We're going to start with the attorney. Martin Kaufman is from the Kaufman law firm. He's an attorney representing Barry Montgomery.
Thank you everyone for coming. Martin Kaufman, K-A-U-F-M-A-N. I'm representing Barry Montgomery and his family, and I do appreciate everyone coming out here. Since this incident happened in July, we've been doing our own investigation to determine exactly what happened. We have determined that there are multiple sheriffs, at least 20 different sheriffs, that decided on this one night while Barry was basically minding his own business and going to Enterprise Park in Compton and doing what he always did and loved, which was just to go out and shoot baskets. These officers decided that they were going to pull Barry into a bathroom and beat him within an inch of his life. We have documented photo evidence and medical evidence showing that Barry has multiple fractures, including orbital fractures to his eye that are going to require reconstruction. As Paulette mentioned, rib fractures, and even worse, to talk about just the absolute hostility that was being used. We have taser marks where they actually took the taser and applied it to Barry's body, jamming it into his back, ripping the skin off of his body. To make matters even worse, as if it can be worse, the Sheriff's Department, through their statements, actually claimed that this officer here was attacked by Barry and was injured. This gentleman, and we just got his photograph, has absolutely no injuries. That was a false statement that was made by the police department. And now the district attorney, rather than prosecuting this gentleman and the other sheriff deputies that were involved, is actually prosecuting Barry. We're calling for the DA to take a hard look at what they're doing right now. And it's not just this case, it's a lot of cases. But for now, let's start here. I want the district attorney to drop these charges against Barry Montgomery, and let's turn the light on those sheriff's deputies, the 20 that were involved. Let's bring the light out. Let's look at them and see how it is that these individuals could do this to someone who basically was minding his own business, and even worse, is mentally disabled. We need a true investigation. Max Huntsman is the new Inspector General. Max needs to take a hard look at the sheriff. They've been in the media a lot lately. Let's take a look. This is a great example of how the sheriff operates in Compton. This would not have happened, ladies and gentlemen, if this were West Hollywood or other areas. This happened because this is Compton. This happens every single week in Compton.
Hi, Ty Ellis, E-L-L-I-S. My little brother, he's 29 years old. He's paranoid schizophrenic. He doesn't bother anybody. He minds his own business. He's been playing ball at this park for over 10 years with the same routine. Everyone in the community knows him. No one bothered him. The worst fear we had was for someone to come and do a drive-by, not the sheriff to hurt my brother. We thought that they were to protect him, but they are not. They hurt him, they beat him for no reason because he didn't respond. He does not respond. He does not talk. And for them to beat him and then to unlock a bathroom and drag him in the bathroom and beat him unconsciously. It's not right. It's injustice. We need help. We need them to investigate these officers. Sheriffs, we need help.
I wanted to also introduce Jontierra Fletcher and her mother. Now, what's interesting here is, and what I didn't mention very briefly, is that this doesn't just end with the LA County Sheriff. I don't want to confuse the issues, but we've been in this neighborhood. We have several cases involving the Compton Unified School District police officers and the brutality that's going on in the schools. It really is a neighborhood epidemic that we're dealing with. Jontierra was brutally pulled out of a car by her hair by an officer that we have noted as being involved in multiple incidents where he has used excessive force on children. She's just the latest example of this. We have documented video footage which we're presenting to the media this morning, along with photographs that are, irrefutable in terms of what happened. So if you wanted to come up and just introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Quintina Howard, Quintina, HOWRD. This is my daughter, Jontierra.
Jontierra Fletcher, Jontierra, Fletcher, Fletcher.
And yes, I want to just say that how they treated my daughter was painful. I really couldn't see what they were doing to her because at the same time, they had pepper sprayed me. They emptied a whole can of pepper spray on me. All I wanted to do was just talk to my child. And they emptied the whole can of pepper spray, and all I can hear was my baby screaming, "Mama, help me, Mama, help me." And they wouldn't let me, couldn't hardly breathe, pepper sprayed or anything. And I want this officer, this Compton School Police to be prosecuted for assault. That was assault that he did to my baby. He treated my baby wrong. She's 117 pounds at most. And he drug her by her hair through a window. How can you do a child like that? That's child abuse. You want to be sick? Okay, go ahead.
Step in front of the mic, sweetheart.
I feel like what he done to me is so wrong, and it's such an eye-opener. Like, I didn't think things like that happened to people. Like, I didn't really know about, police brutality. Like, he drugged me out of the window, and I had bruises, scars, I had cuts from glass that was on the concrete, and I was handcuffed the whole time. So I did not, I wasn't able to catch my fall when I fell out the window or anything. I have cuts on my knees, holes in my arm, holes in my back that will never go away because I was brutally beaten by the school sheriff, school police. Well,
Tell them your height and weight.
Oh, I'm 5'2" and I weigh 116 pounds. And
Hold on, sweetheart. Let this train go by.
And also, like, I had pepper spray all over my body. I believe he used a whole can of pepper spray on me. He maced me inside of the car, the police car, and outside as he was dragging me out and as he was dragging me across the concrete. I barely remember anything from when he beat me because he beat me so much, and he gave me knots to the head. It just hurts,
Sweetie, where did this happen?
This happened at Centennial High School.
What year was this?
This was May 5th, 2014.
Why did this happen? Why did an officer feel the need to have to restrain you?
This happened because I had a fight that day, but they never once did anyone go to both me and the other participant in the fight. They only came to me, males and females, security guards, and they were, you know, like grabbing me, but my mom was in the office.
Who threw the first punch?
Her.
Okay.
Her.
So you were defending her?
Yeah, yes. My mom was actually in the office, so when I seen my mom, I was already in handcuffs. She knew nothing what was going on. I know that the police shouldn't put you inside of a car or anything unless, or you shouldn't talk unless your parent or guardian is around, because I'm underage. And so I wanted to, you know, just go to the office and talk to my mom rather than them taking me somewhere off, I don't know where. And I never been arrested. I've never had any cases or anything. And this was my first time. I was so scared, like so scared. And after the fight, like, and the officer came and arrested me, he dragged me through the car like I was just a dog. Like,
were you suspended from school?
Yes, I was suspended from school. They suspended me, I believe, for 5 days.
What about the other participant?
I don't think anything happened to the other participant.
You're not the only one, Jontierra. I thank you for sharing your story, because the media or the law enforcement officials will make it sound like you instigated the whole mess. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you, Miss Mama. I commend all of you. Thank you.
So we're gonna have Barry Montgomery's senior, Barry's dad, speak, and then we're gonna have Pastor Baker speak, and then our national board member from the NAACP, Ron Hassel. And then we'll take questions after that from the media.
My name is Barry Montgomery Sr., B-A-R-R-Y, M-O-N-T-G-O-M-E-R-Y. I'd like to address the strife that the police and the sheriff officers are putting through the neighborhood. I mean, they have children that's scared to walk out their door because of the pressure that they put on them. Every time they walk down the street, they're stopped, they're harassed. I don't see no need for that unless they're doing something. My son was just at the park. He goes to the park every night and plays basketball at the same time. And it seemed to me that they set that up, because a few weeks before, they were at the house. I walk out my front door, and he's in the garage, and they're trying to bait him out of the garage. So I asked him what was going on. I said, well, that's not him, whoever you're looking for, because he's been here all night. And they just faded and walked away with their heads down. I don't know what this pressure is that is on them to make people, you know, they want them to cower down and be subject to them. But we need a free and open society where we can have, you know, people that can communicate with each other. If they don't learn this will never stop.
Sir, has your son been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness?
Yes, he has.
Okay, is he medicated? Is he on medication?
Yes, he's on his medication.
What has he been clinically diagnosed with?
Yes.
What has he been clinically diagnosed with?
Schizophrenia and Tourette syndrome.
So
Tourette
schizophrenia?
syndrome,
Okay,
yes.
all right. But does he have any criminal record whatsoever?
None
Has he been in
whatsoever.
jail? Never?
He's been picked up several times because they harass him for walking down the street. They want to know who he is. The whole neighborhood will come out and tell them who he is. And I think this the only way they could single him out is to take him to the park and take over.
Now, what was the law enforcement's report? What accusation did they level against him? Why did they stop him?
What charges did they make on him?
Yes.
I'd like to have the attorney tell you the charges.
They originally had about 6 different charges, including an assault on a peace officer, which was a false charge, and they dropped it. Now it's a PC-69 felony resisting arrest for someone who couldn't have possibly resisted when he was in handcuffs from the start.
So this gentleman, he's clinically found to be schizophrenic and suffered from Tourette syndrome. Because of that diagnosis, should he be out in situations where he's alone?
Barry was at Enterprise Park at around 9 o'clock at night where he shoots baskets. He's able to function in this way and has done it for years, over 10 years. This is what he does. Everyone in the neighborhood knows Barry. Everyone likes Barry. They love Barry, including some people that the sheriff might not be very pleased with. Everyone loves this, and I call him a kid because really when you talk to him, he's very childlike. The only way I can describe Barry is he's docile. He was no threat to anyone. It's impossible.
And by law, folks can be at that park at 9 o'clock at night. There's no
Correct.
law
The park had not closed.
Okay, so why, in your estimation, on that particular day or night, did they approach him? Just what, out of the blue, or did they just approach him because he was there, probable cause?
Well, they approached him because the police have a general way of harassing and dealing with people in the park, including some people that may, be a potential problem. But they treated him like they treat everyone else. They didn't follow any sort of protocols or procedures. And apparently when Barry didn't give the response that this deputy wanted, that's when he became really aggressive with Barry. And then, we believe that they called in multiple officers for the specific purpose of attacking him. This was like a rodeo beatdown.
Did he, because of his clinical issues, did he attack them and or was he totally subdued, or was he submissive? Or obviously because he doesn't know, maybe perhaps to be that way. Tourette syndrome, people with that diagnosis can be a little aggressive. Was that the case?
Our witnesses have all indicated that Barry didn't attack anyone.
Can I say something?
And just really quick, yeah, sure, of course. We have a photograph of Barry's hands. Okay, originally the officer claimed that that he was struck and bleeding. The photograph that we have of this particular deputy, and if you look at the ground, all the blood, that's Barry's blood. It's not his. His hands are completely clean. There are no sorts of wounds or markings that would indicate that there was any altercation. So
here's the biggest question.
Sure.
Okay, we've been out here for these stories several times in the last several days. We've got obviously the issue in St. Louis right now. And in your estimation, does it appear that these officers have it out for black men? Are they just willfully attacking black men out here? You think they're provoked to attack?
I would not limit it to black men. I would limit it to any minorities that are in this area. And we happen to be in an area that is populated with minorities, Latinos and African Americans. But it's an abusive environment that we're dealing with here. But it's now the abuse that I'm referring to is not from gang members and bad kids or bad people. I'm talking about the sheriffs,
Law enforcement.
and law enforcement, including the school police, that are working and that are patrolling in this area. These particular park police, we're informed that the sheriffs, the sheriff's deputies that were involved here used to be Compton City Park Police. These were city employees. They were taken over when Baca didn't pay attention on his big hiring spree. He took them lock, stock, and barrel. And of course he was asleep at the switch, which we know about generally in the way he was carrying out his duties. So we've got a lot of bad officers here that are engaged in these sorts of activities. And they're allowed, through this department right now that apparently is like a headless horseman, they're allowed to roam the streets of Compton and neighboring areas and basically either shoot first, beat first, hit first, and then maybe if we're lucky, if we get the NAACP involved, maybe they ask questions later.
The officers
Are you
involved
saying
in
it's
this, are
the
they
same
still in
officers
force?
that are doing this, or the same deputies? Like the same group? Or
We have not, yes, we believe that from our investigation that several of the deputies that were involved here have been involved in other incidents where they've brutalized people without probable cause.
And they're
Yes.
still on the force? They've
Absolutely.
not been suspended for now, pending the investigation, yada, yada, yada?
No suspension, as far as we know, there's been no activities. We've been told basically nothing. And several of these officers have actually been seen parked in front of Barry's home as if they're staking out the home, treating him like a common criminal along with his family. They're also harassing our witnesses in the area and intimidating them, making sure that people don't come forward. I'm asking, apparently there are other videotapes that exist. We're asking people to anonymously find a way to get those videos. Put them up on YouTube. Everyone knows about this incident that's in the area. Post the video. Get it up so we can all see it.
Explain the video that you gave us. What are we going to see?
We have one video. Originally the Sheriff's Department claimed that there were just a few individuals that were out there, 3 or 4 that were involved. We have a video that we've now produced. If you look in the distance and if you enhance it, because it's not great quality, you will see that there's multiple sheriff's deputies that are out there. 20, 30, 40. There's more than we can imagine. For this guy, he's 130 pounds and he was cuffed. Why were there that many sheriff's deputies even at? Why were there that many sheriffs that were even at the park that night?
Mr. Kaufman, see the actual beating in the video.
You can see portions of the incident, but as far as up close and that, no, you can't.
Is there a civilian review board established here, or do you think there should be one? And do you think that the community should organize to have a civilian review board?
On whatever level, obviously I'm not a politician, so it's hard for me to speak, but obviously we would like some review. Unfortunately, the city council voted just the other day to decide that the review that they're going to have and the county supervisors, excuse me, the county supervisors voted to not have that level of review.
Do you think that the community should organize and put pressure on the politicians to have a civilian review board?
Well, that's what we're doing.
Good.
Can we hear from the NAACP?
Yeah, Max Huntsman himself, I wanted to note, he's been at the Montgomery residence. He has been on the scene. And, you know, what Max Huntsman, who's supposed to be taking a look at the sheriff, what he's doing, you know, it's unclear to us. We don't know what the level of review is. All we know is that these officers, these deputies, are still on duty. And as far as we know, my client's being criminally prosecuted.
Your client's being criminal
for PC 69, resisting arrest.
Can I, so I know the family said that he can't talk. Could the deputies have misconstrued that as being defiant? Or?
They took it, he can speak, but he's not responsive in the way that you and I would relate to each other. But at any rate, their job is to protect someone like him. I mean, once you speak to Barry for about 15 seconds, you know who he is. There was no surprises. Not to mention, these deputies, they knew him. Everyone knows Barry. This is not some stranger to the park and the neighborhood.
So we're going to have Councilor Baker, and then we're going to have our national board member. We're going to have some from the Beverly Hills NAACP.
My name is Minister Baker. My name is spelled W-A-Y. My name is Minister Baker. My name is spelled W-A-Y-M-O-N. Last name Baker, B-A-K-E-R. I'm with an organization called Ceasefire here in LA. And I was asked a question a few minutes ago before I came up. Why are you here? Well, my answer was, I'm here because I'm tired. And I know many of us that are here today are really tired the way things have been going, not only in LA, but where I come from, down south. Things are going on down there. But if we don't speak up, if we don't fight, the worst thing you can do is do nothing. Amen. If you don't fight, I don't care where you're, wherever this evil rise up, we ought to get in it just like it's the last time. And our conversation, our message should be to not only the police officers, but any individual has that type of mentality that they can do things to not only our people, but other people of color, or any people at all, and get away with it. We need to let them know and throw the message out there that this is not tolerated. Not where we're at, not on our watch, because it's been happening too many times. I was raised in that type of environment. And we got to change the mentality of these people. You can't police yourself, amen, and expect a righteous verdict to come out. You know, that's what they're doing now. The police department, the sheriff department is policing themselves. And the community is standing by and letting these things happen. We need to fight. I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to fight. Sitting down has been too long. We have been quiet too long. We need to fight and train our children. bring them to things like this and let them know, don't tolerate this. As long as you tolerate it, it'll get worse and worse. And that's why I feel that we need an oversight committee. If people from the community that have been there and done that can come in and show these people, train these officers as to how to treat people in this community. So I thank you, I praise you for the family, you're keeping our prayers for the family, what they're going through, what they've been through, all families that have been through and going through this same type of thing, this senseless violence. And I just said, stop sitting down. Let's get up. Rosa Parks taught us something. It's time to get up there and stand for peace and justice.
Amen. Amen.
My name is Ron Hassan. I'm on the national board of the NAACP. We're here today, ladies and gentlemen, because
Spell your last name, sir.
Hasson, Ron Hassan. It is important that we continue to bring this before you as the news media. It is very important that we continue to rally our citizens in our community. This appears to be an ongoing situation where the police department has put together a gang that is now abusing our citizens, African Americans and Latinos in this community. There are many issues that exist in this community, but those issues are being treated differently than what they would be treated in Westwood and other parts of the city. We need your support, as we need the support of all the citizens, to let the police department, to let our elected officials know, to let people know that this must stop in the city of Compton, that this must stop in Los Angeles, and in fact, we need to have your help in making people aware that this must stop across the United States. African Americans have been looked at as the chosen individuals to be beat and abused by police departments, and we are now asking for the support of all citizens to stop this.
Let me ask you a question here, sir, so I just want to be clear, okay? Several years ago, when crime was at its peak here in Compton, and children were being shot in the streets and wayward bullets and during rival gang fights, innocent children were being killed. There was a rallying cry to get a bigger police presence in this community because Compton felt that it was being neglected. Over the last several years, violent crime, black on black crime, black on brown crime, brown on brown crime, has been greatly reduced. There are people who like living in this community now because they feel somewhat safe. Are you saying in that effort by the Sheriff's Department that they've done a good job reducing crime, but they've gone too far?
Yes, we believe they've gone too far. Yes, we believe there are rogue policemen with the sheriffs within that department that have taken it upon themselves to abuse African Americans, to abuse Latinos in their treatment of them. This is what we believe needs to stop. There needs to be legislation, there needs to be citizens review boards, there needs to be something to put an end to this. This is our community, Latinos and African Americans in our community. Thank you.
So again, as the president of the Compton NAACP, I want to thank you all for coming out. I appreciate the other organizations that came out to support the families, like Ceasefire, the Urban Roundtable. Santa Monica president of the NAACP is here also. All the community members, the Nation of Islam. We appreciate you guys coming out and saying, we're not going to take this anymore. It's time out for this foolishness. It's continuing. We're going to leave here and go to 65th and Broadway, where a young man was murdered by the LAPD, shot in the back while on the ground. This kind of stuff continues to happen. So at what point do we say enough is enough? The community has to start stepping up and standing up.
Talking about that, I'm going to ask one last question. And this question, bear in mind, I'm just the messenger here. Okay? Obviously, we've spoken to sheriffs, we've spoken to police. Some of them will remain nameless, have a different spin on things. Okay? I was told by an officer recently that they find it interesting that when there's black on black crime, when these gang members are killing innocent kids in the streets, whether it's black or Hispanic, they don't see this kind of presence where folks are rising up and saying enough is enough. But when it's an officer that's engaged in a situation with an African American or a Hispanic, you're here. Why is that?
Well, part of that reason is we expect the law enforcement to even control that. We've been here when gang violence have been black on black. We've asked the sheriff to step that up, but they're not doing it. So of course we're going to be out here when they come out and shoot one of our own or beat up our own, because we expect them to do us a little better. See, I expect gang members to do what they do, and I expect sheriff to do what they do, protect and to serve, not beat and abuse and victimize.
You're not saying you condone what the gang members do.
No, we're not condoning what the gang members are doing, but I'm saying this. We're gonna need their efforts to stop the gang members while they're harassing innocent young men in the park. Handle that, go to the park where gang members are. Go where the gang members are. You ain't going over there because you don't want to deal with that. So you bother innocent kids. We got little young kids in high school going to school being treated like this. If you show them that kind of behavior, what are you for showing gang members it's okay? We can do this because the police is not going to come bother me with my sagging pants. They're going to bother the little girl over here having a kid fight in the schoolyard.
Ms. Paulette?
What about another shooting last night in Jefferson Park?
I'm not for sure familiar with that one.
Paulette,
the assault rifles regulations passed by the school board.
Yeah, we were at the school board meeting last night and we found out that the board passed approval for the school police to now carry assault rifles.
Wow. Now you're killing them.
Wow. Where do we do that at? The terrorists are right here on our own soil. We talk about terrorists and Homeland Security. We don't have Homeland Security in Compton. Come on, you can't even walk out your own house in Compton. So something wrong with that picture. And then you're gonna give the people that are bully gang members more assault weapons to do what? Beat us down? They are professional gang members with guns and license to carry.
Ms. Paulette, do you think? Ms. Paulette.
Ms. Gibson, everyone's here asking for everything from citizen review boards to investigations at various levels. There's certain ways in which things are done. We know that you've filed complaints, and people have filed complaints with the Sheriff's Department. Have you received any satisfaction at all with the complaints you filed directly with the Sheriff's Department or through the Sheriff's internal district system?
So I had a meeting with Captain McCray from the Compton, and all he could say is he was not at liberty to talk because it's under internal investigation. He's saying that he's not investigating, it's out of his hand, that this incident with Barry Morgan is right now in the hands of internal investigation.
Did he say as part of that internal investigation, any of the deputies that are involved or named on a complaint form or named in a verbal complaint that you had or members of Barry's family have been temporarily suspended, put on desk duty, assigned home, anything like that?
No, he didn't say any of that. As a matter of fact, he kept saying that they're going to keep looking into it. So that's been weeks now.
If indeed this is what the Sheriff's Department, and I know how slow those investigations go, realistically, where do you think you could get more rapid or more definitive action? Are we talking here with California officials, meaning the Attorney General's office, or do you feel it has to be federal?
You know what? Because it's happened so regular and with so many different agencies, it needs to be our federal attorney general. Because it's not just happening in Compton. As we see, it's happening with the LAPD. It's happening in Long Beach. It's happening in Inglewood. It's happening in Gardena. Almost isn't a place that you say it's not happening. It's happening in Victorville. We got a call that a kid was just killed last night in Victorville. So it's happening all over the state. But it's not just in California. It's all over. We see down there in Missouri. We see in New York. It's all over. It's a national epidemic.
Say that. Ms. Gibson, would you say that, or what would you say about the local politicians like City Hall? Do they have anything to say about this? Or should they be recalled or outvoted if they're not doing their job?
Well, I haven't had any contact with the city officials, but I do believe because the Sheriff Department works for the city. I think we got this thing a little out of order. The sheriff needs to answer to the city, and the city needs to answer to the people. Why are we allowing this to happen? We got this thing a little bit twisted. People that we elect work for the people. So it means our county supervisors who voted down the community review board, that's crazy. So we have to start also holding our elected officials accountable to make sure that they police these organizations and make sure that people are protected. They have a duty and obligation to make sure that the community is protected, and this kind of stuff won't continue.
Starting with Compton?
So I want to, at this time, we're going to close it down, but I just want to thank you all for coming out. If you guys have any more questions for the NAACP, my cell phone number is out on the press release. You guys have access to my cell phone number. We are going to have more meetings, and we are going to be having more press conferences as these things continue to happen. But thank you guys so much for coming out.
Please give me a phone. And there you have it, folks. You've been watching KTNG.NetTV, and we will be back again with you soon.